Today, on Be Something Wonderful, how to wake up and master the 3D matrix. I am your host, Tom Karen, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, welcome back. I had a great session with one of our followers on the channel yesterday, and he said, Tom, right now, the 3D world seems to be getting the best of me, is what he said. He had just broken up with his girlfriend, I guess about 3 weeks ago. And he said, it's not that I love her or I want to get back with her. There was always a lot of drama around it. And it's just that I just feel like I'm not going to meet anybody else. Nothing else seems to be changing. Work seems to be a grind. There's a lot of drama around my family. And I just don't know how to sort of get unstuck. I don't know how to imagine my wish fulfilled and move beyond this. I always start thinking that, okay, maybe I should get back together with her, or you know, and I've not even been going out with my friends regularly because we do the same things and it's the same stuff. And I just want that's really what I want to talk about. Well, guys, we're going to talk about this today and more. So there's a lot there. But here's what I want to say, and this is really what we talked about, that it's the only thing that happens with thought is that it's not thought that's the problem. I just want to say this. It's not your thoughts that are the problem. It's your focus on the content of your thoughts rather than the context. I want to hit this again because we've talked about this. It's your focus on the content, meaning that you're thinking something's wrong, that your life's not going well, that you don't know whether you're going to get back with someone who's not right for you or whether you're going to meet somebody new. You're identifying with the content of your thoughts versus being aware of thought itself. Hear this. We've talked about this before, but I really want to hit this. It's the power is your awareness. Awareness of the 3D reality. Awareness that that person's not right for you. Awareness that maybe you're looking at, maybe when you go out with your friends, you're looking at them in 3D in the same way. It changes when you change. When you change the context in which you're viewing those thoughts, 3D reality in your life will change. Do you see this? It's because you're identifying with the content, the same old content of your thoughts. Let's unpack this a little bit more. So, and I think you mentioned, one of you on the channel mentioned this idea that Tom, I feel like I'm in the eye of the hurricane and I can't get out. And I think I said, the eye is where you want to be, because 3D reality is the hurricane around that eye. Right? So the inner world is your awareness. It's your awareness of your thoughts, but not your focus or your identification with the contents of your thoughts. It's your awareness of that power of thought, that you can direct that awareness on anything you want. It's your center. It's your eye. It's that state of peace. It's calm there. And everything else just swirls around you. Everything else that you can perceive, receive, or create is swirling around you. But this is the center. This is the real you. Do you see this, guys? That just like with my client, his focus has been on the swirl versus the eye, right? The outer world, that's the 3D matrix, right? Right? It's about taking the red pill. Right? It's not the blue pill. You believe you're this swirl. You believe you're that chaos. You believe you're the contents of your thoughts. And you're not looking at the content. You're not looking at that real you. Right? So the outer world is changing and temporal. It's the people, things, and circumstances that you're all focused on. Right? You're focused on that you just broke up. You're focused on that that your job's a grind. You're focused on everything in the outside swirl versus the awareness of it all. Right? If you just observe those thoughts, then you're looking at the power of the thought itself and not the contents. Whew, that's powerful, right? So you feel powerless. I think you mentioned that when you identify as the content of your thoughts versus being more aware and more interested in the thoughts themselves, meaning the context. Remember, thought is source energy in action, right? It's you intending source energy to create something. So really, it's about taking the red pill, right? Being that being that awareness, not getting caught up in the swirl. You can enjoy the swirl, but don't get caught up in it. This is your refuge right here. Let's unpack this a little bit more. Now remember, I said we've always said this, if you can be aware of it, it exists on some plane or level of reality. That's your imagination. But where is the source of that imagination? It's here. It's within that inner world. It's within that awareness of thought. And not being identified with the thought itself, not thinking you are the thought. Do you hear this, guys? This is big. So, with imagination, God and infinity, all things are possible, right? When you become aware of anything, you give it power to project itself on the screen of time and space. So it all comes from that calm center, right? But what are you making yourself aware of? You're making yourself aware of the contents of unwanted thoughts. And you're identifying with them as in believing that's who you are. Do you hear this, right? That awareness projects it, and that's what you're projecting. You're projecting that swirl. That swirl can be anything you want, right? Depending on what you're thinking. But again, by not identifying with the contents, and rising above and looking at thought itself, the contents. To wake up, to be a conscious creator is about being in the world of 3D without, that's important, being attached to it. Do you see this? It's about being in that I, right? Relating to that swirl, but not being attached to it. Knowing that you're creating it and that you can mold that swirl to anything you want, right? Being identified with and interested or aware of the source of thought, the context. Hear this, right? Because right now you're identifying and interested in, right? And have all your awareness on the content. What's going wrong? What's happened? What's happened in the past, right? What's happening right now, which is still the past. What's going to happen? And now you're projecting a future based on that past. Do you see it? So being identified with and more aware of or interested in this, be more identified with the source of thought, the content, than the thoughts themselves, the content. Do you hear this? It's being aware of the awareness, where thought is being aware that you can think in anything you want. And you can think from a higher source. That's what we're talking about. This is your imagination. This is your power, right? You're not being consumed by the thoughts themselves and the changing context of the people, circumstances, and things around you. That content's always changing, even if it's changing into the same thing every time, like a grind, or like the chaos with your ex, right? You're getting consumed by these thoughts themselves. And the changing content of them versus being aware of the context or the source of thought itself. Your source, you get to identify that with anything. It's really observing your thoughts, right? In the words of the great master, Jesus said, what did he say? You are from below, I am from above. You are of this world, I'm not of this world. That's your I am, talking to the 3D you, right? That's your I am awareness is from above. Right? And I am from above. You are of this world. The 3D you is in the world, you feel stuck in the world. I'm not of this world. Your I am awareness is not of that swirl. It's the awareness. It's the I, right? It's that I right here, right? That's your I am. That's your I am. And that's the world. So, when you are consumed by the swirling matrix of the 3D world, you're like an actor in a movie who gets so absorbed and fascinated by their role they forget who they really are. You've forgotten. You think you're this person that it's hopeless. I'm not going to meet anyone new. I'm not going to get out of this rut, right? So what's the key? Immerse yourself in 3D, in the beautiful physicality of it all, without being consumed by it. Look at the thought, move up into that greater awareness of the context of everything, of the thought itself. Then you can have fun and revel in 3D. You can immerse yourself in it without being consumed by it. Right? When you get consumed by it, you forget who you are. Let go of your attachments, of your cravings, of your resistances to outcomes. Right? You want a certain outcome. You want something to happen specifically. Instead, let go of all that. Right? That's the true definition of fulfillment. Let all that go and rise to the fulfillment of that you already are. Right? Because what happens when you do that? When you let go of all that lower thought, all that content which you're identifying with, then that higher thought, that original thought of God, the thought of fulfillment, the thought of who you really are, is what's left. That's powerful. And then your life just moves, right, into the direction of whatever real desires you have within you. That's big. So, wish fulfilled is about being in the world, enjoying all it has to offer, knowing that you are not of this world. You hear this, right? Wish fulfilled is really expressing your divinity in the 3D world, right? It's that divine fulfillment, but it's the 3D manifestation of your divine fulfillment. It's enjoying the 3D world. It's not trying to escape it. It's being in the world, but not of this world, right? So seeing and perceiving, creating and manifesting, in other words, it all from your awareness center, right? From that center, from knowing that you're much more than the content of your thoughts and that you're not the content of your thoughts, right? All possible thought forms and realities, versions of yourself, exist and are available to access right now, right? It's about allowing and receiving your desired thoughts, right? Not trying to think positive, not trying to change things with your thoughts, right? Rather, rising higher where you're going to be receiving the thoughts of that new version of yourself, that new reality, right? Trying to think positive thoughts, that's why it becomes so impossible, right? That's what you were saying, that you keep reverting back to these old thoughts of the relationship not working out, that there's no fun, that the job isn't working, and you're trying to override that by forcing thoughts and thoughts. Instead, identify who you want to be. Identify that true you, that version of yourself you want to be now. That's when you allow and receive desired thoughts, higher thoughts of that new reality. It's about identifying with your desired reality, version of yourself, state of consciousness, wish fulfilled, and receiving desired thoughts. It's about taking the red pill, right? Identifying with that I am awareness, identifying with ultimate reality, the real reality, right? So, it's not about thinking and efforting, but rather surrendering and receiving. This is big, right? The thinking and efforting comes from being attached to the content of your thoughts versus being aware of thought itself, right? That the higher thought, the awareness that when you think, there's a thought of God within you, and then there's 3D thoughts, dimensionally lower thinking, right? Surrendering and receiving is how you connect with that higher thought. That's what they mean by letting go. Letting go of all that thinking and efforting on the contents of 3D reality by looking at the swirl and thinking about the swirl, the 3D swirl around you. Looking at the matrix and efforting and thinking through that matrix versus surrendering and receiving that higher thought. The 3D you, the ego mind, can only think, receive about things already thought from past memories and experiences. And that's what's going on, right? That's what you're thinking from. Right? It recycles and rehashes the past or projects the future from fear. Right? Nothing's ever going to change. I don't know how I'm going to meet the right people. I don't know how my job's going to change. Right? It identifies with the swirl of the outer world or memories of the outer world. So you're either identifying with what you're looking at or memories of the 3D world, of how it was or is, right? So new thought, original thought, comes from that higher consciousness. It comes from the eye of awareness, right? The center, right? By surrendering to the present moment, by surrendering to the higher thought, right? Be still and know that I am God. That's why it's my favorite, right? New thought, remember, new thought's impersonal, and it's without the 3D baggage. So you're going to say, well, how do I know? How do you know? Because it doesn't have the baggage. It doesn't have the resistances, the cravings, right? The hanging on of things. It has none of that. There's no fear, doubt, stress, insecurity, or confusion. It's pure thought. It's higher thought. You align with love, peace, clarity, joy, innate worthiness. How do you do that? When you take your focus off the contents of thought and start moving into the awareness of thought itself, right? And so be there as the witnessing presence of your inner state. You don't have to do anything. With awareness, the I, comes transformation and freedom. This is Eckhart Tolle. Perfect for this lesson. Be there as the witnessing presence of your inner state. You don't have to do anything. With awareness, with that I being that center, comes transformation and freedom. You move from being aware of your thoughts to transcending them altogether. So you move from identifying with the content of your thoughts to being aware of your thoughts and then transcending them altogether and receiving new thought, original thought, source thought, right? Wow, that's what it means to be present. So try this. We did this with the client, and it was pretty cool because towards the end of the session, he told me he got a text message from a buddy of his that just arrived back in town, and that his buddy is married, but he was going to go out with his wife, but she was going to bring a bunch of friends, single friends along, and he invited his buddy, right, who he hadn't heard from. He was traveling. So this is how it changes. It's not a big thing, but I said, look, that's what happens when you move. That's what happens when you open things up, right? Maybe he would have received that text anyway, and then wouldn't have been motivated to go. But now he's opening himself up to that possibility that he is the change that he wants. He's got to change within, and then he's got to be receptive and allow and receive that new reality. And that's what he said he was going to do. So I don't know if he did it, but that's what he said he's going to do. So move from being aware of your thoughts to transcending the lower state, them all together. So what do? What's the first thing? Become a witness or observer of reality. Right? Don't react to it, respond to it. Just become curious about the reality around you because it's coming from you and it is you. 2, create space or awareness between the conditions and your response. Right? Create an awareness gap. We've talked about this in other videos. Right? Between what you're seeing in 3D conditions and your response to them. Right? Consciously choose your identity, your state, or your version of reality that you want to occupy next. Who do you want to be? What do you want? What version of reality do you want to occupy? It's as simple as identifying and assuming it, right? You certainly can imagine it into a state akin to sleep and imagine it as you drop off to sleep. You could get in an alpha state, a very relaxed state, close your eyes and breathe deeply and imagine it, or you can simply assume it and claim it now. And then walk in that conviction, no matter what the swirl of 3D matrix is showing you. Because now you're taking the red pill. You're identifying with the awareness, right? 3rd step, consciously choose. Okay, that's the 3rd step. 4th, show gratitude and appreciation for all of it. Accept all of it. Because that swirl is who you are, right? Opposites can't exist when you're in gratitude and appreciation. I've mentioned this in an early video. Maybe not that early, but maybe about 6 months ago, right? Opposites can exist when you are in gratitude and appreciation. They can exist, but you're not seeing them. Because when you're appreciating and you're showing gratitude for all of it, then you're not seeing that. You're not looking at that. You're not looking at that old steel content of your old steel thoughts. And now you're identifying with the context of thought itself. Spirit, the I amness, who you really are, that higher thought, right? And then 5, receive and allow the guidance and wisdom from your higher self, right? This could be in a meditation, or it could just be you closing your eyes, leaning back, and doing this, right? This is your go-to, right? This is how you wake up. This is taking the red pill. This is how to wake up and master the 3D matrix. I am your host, Tom Caron, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification button. Like and share our videos. That's how we get our message out. You can follow us on Facebook at Be Something Wonderful. We also have a Facebook page called the Be Something Wonderful Ambassadors, facebook.com/groups/Be Something Wonderful. Feel free to join that. More and more of you are joining. I love it. And you can also follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Tom Caron. We also have a website, tomcaron.com or besomethingwonderful.com. Until next time, with great love, with great light, and infinite gratitude, this is Tom. See you soon.